In this video, we're going to look at solving equations, and we're going to kind of use examples that we've been looking at throughout this term. So let's say we have this equation that represents our savings account balance. A equals 150 plus 50t. So what would 150 represent? Well, since it's a constant number, we can kind of assume that that's like an initial value. We've talked about that before. When it's a linear equation like this, 150 is some initial value. So we're saying there was $150 initially in the account. Then we're adding $50. And since they're timesing it by T, I'm assuming that's some sort of like monthly add-in. Oh yeah, actually they mentioned that right below. So $50 is what we're adding, is added or deposited. That'd probably be a better word. Is deposited every month. All right. So A is representing the account balance. Squeeze that in there. T represents the number of months from now. So how much will be in the account in 6 months? So basically, if I plug in 6 for T, I could take 50 times it by 6, which is 300, plus that 150, that's going to be 450. So there's going to be $450 in 6 months. How many months until the balance reaches 800? Okay, so if we want to get to 800 as our goal, we can take out the original 150 that's already in the account. So that's going to give me 650 when I subtract that. Okay, so I need to add in $650 more dollars. So I'm going to divide by 50 because I'm going to do $50 a month. So if I grab my calculator and put in 50, that gives me 13. So 13 months. But there's another way to do this, which they're going to comment on. Working backwards, what we could have done was plugged in 800 into A in the formula, and we could actually solve the formula. So to do that, they're stepping us through it. So they plugged in 800 into the formula originally and set it equal to 150 plus 50t. And first thing they do is they subtracted 150 from both sides of the equation. And they do that because we're taking out that initial 150 from the 80. But in algebraic terms, we subtract anything that's added to the part that has the variable. So if there's like this plus 150 here, we want to solve for t. So in order to do that, I need to get rid of the 150. To get rid of the 150, I'm going to subtract it from both sides because it's added on the right side. So what that does is that actually cancels it out on the right side. It's gone. I've subtracted that 150, but on the left side, that leaves me with 650. And now we've seen these equations where we have something right in front of the variable. We just divide both sides by 50, and that gives us t. And those are literally the steps we took. We just didn't show the algebra for that. So we could have done those steps for solving in order to actually do this equation. So let's look at an example. Let's instead this time they want us to plug 1500 in for A. So that's going to equal 150 plus 50t. Okay, so I'm going to do their steps. I'm going to start by subtracting 150, the number that's not part of the t. So 1500 minus 150. I'm doing it in my calculator. I'm getting 1350. Now that's gone over here. Boop. That was the point. It goes away. And I'm left with 50t, which I can then divide both sides by 50. So dividing that by 50, I get 27. Sorry, I kind of ran out of space. So t equals 27, or 27 equals t. Sorry, I'm just out of space. So 27 months. So to answer the question, it's 27 months, or t equals 27. I don't really need to put this, but that's fine. Compound interest formula A equals P1 plus R to the T is used for future value or amount of an investment. Principal P is based on the amount invested now. Annual interest rate R is written as a decimal. The future value also depends on the number of years T. So let's say we invest 2,000 at 3% annually for 4 years. What is the future value of this investment? So if I'm taking 2,000, I'm plugging it in for T, times 1 plus, okay, so R is the interest rate, which we need to write as a decimal. So that's 0.03. And then T is 4, and it's an exponent, so it's a power. I need to put it as a power. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to plug, okay, so 1 plus 0.03, sorry, decimal's kind of small, is 1.03 to the fourth. So I need to figure out what 1.03 to the fourth is. Now, you could multiply 1.03 by itself 4 times, but a lot of calculators have an exponent button. Usually it looks like either x to the y if you have a scientific calculator, or y to the x. Sometimes it looks like what's called the caret symbol, like it's this kind of upside down V. Those are the power buttons. And so if you put 1.03 and then hit the power button and then 4, that'll actually give you the decimal. And it's a gross number. 1.03 to the fourth is 1.125508881 on my calculator. Okay, but I still have to multiply that answer by 2,000. So I'm actually going to do it all at once. I'm not going to write that decimal down. I'm going to take what's in my calculator and I'm just going to hit times 2,000 because it's going to take my answer, times it by 2,000, and I get 2251.0. All right, I'm going to round it to 2 because I'm going to do it like change hundredths place. So 2,251.02. And really quick, I'm going to write underneath it that this decimal, I'm just going to write what I said verbally. I'm going to say it. I'm going to write it 1.125508881. And if you just want to write it out and then times it by 2,000, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, you want to save 4,000 up in 6 years. The interest rate is still 3%. What should you invest now so that the final amount is 4,000? Put the information you know into the formula and write it here, and then we'll go over how to solve it. So basically what they're asking us to do is take $4,000. We don't know P, and still 3% for 6 years. So a simpler way of writing this formula is to add the 1 plus 0.03, and I don't know what P is. Okay, which is what they have right down here. So here are the steps. First, evaluate 1.03 to the 6th and rewrite the equation with this number. So they actually do have you write it. Maybe I should put then up here 2,000 times that number, and that's going to give us that number. If you want to write that little intermediate step, which they're going to have us do. So evaluate 1.03 to the 6th. So I'm going to take that calculator. I'm going to plug that in using the exponent button. And by the way, if you have trouble with your exponent button, send me an email, like a picture of your calculator, and I can tell you what to plug into your calculator to get it. So I get 1.194. Okay, so 4 decimal places. So that's going to round to 1. It's a 0, but the number next to it is a 5. So it's going to round to 1. So 1.1941. That's the number. Divide both sides of the equation. So they're saying to rewrite it with that in there. Sorry. So 4,000 equals P times 1.1941. And if I want to solve for P, I need to divide both sides by that number. So I need to divide both sides by 1.1941. 0.1941. So 4,000 divided by 1.1941. I get 3349.80. 3349.80. That's P. That's what I need to invest now. So answer the original question. Invest $30,349.80. And that will get you $4,000 in 6 years in interest, meaning you don't have to do anything but just let it sit there. Use the same approach to answer this question. How much money should I put into my account for my new baby nephew? I want the account to have $6,000 when he graduates in 18 years. I found an account that guarantees 2% interest annually. Okay, so using the formula. A equals P times 1 plus R to the T, same formula. Okay, so this time 6,000, I'm trying to figure out what P is, and the percentage is 0.02. And since I'm assuming, okay, so he's a baby, so I have 18 years to save up. All right, so I'm really going to want to plug into the calculator 1.02 to the 18th power. All right, so I get, and we'll use 4 decimal places, 1.4282, since that wouldn't round up. That's times P. And then to solve for P, I divide both sides by that decimal. So 6,000 divided by 1.4282, and I get $4,201.09. That is what I want to invest so that when he graduates high school, there will be $6,000 in the account. Okay. So if you do eventually take Math 243, which is statistics, and actually, I think you may even see it in Math 105 in some classes, depending on if they cover that. There is a formula you're going to see called the Z-score formula. So this is called the Z-score. And it's used to talk about probability. There are Greek letters here, in particular, mu. Oops, we should have a space there. That's the letter mu, that's the Greek letter mu. And then that little circle with the tail, that's sigma, the Greek letter sigma. They're the lowercase, by the way, lowercase mu, lowercase sigma. Okay, so let's use the formula. I don't really need to understand the symbols. I just need to be able to use the formula. So to use the formula, for a particular group of people, mu is 140, sigma is 3. If X is 146, find the Z-score. So they basically gave us everything to plug it into the left side. So I'm going to plug 146 in for X minus 140 for mu over 3, and that equals Z. Okay, so if I want to figure this out, I need to start by figuring out 146 minus 40. So here, put this to the left here. So 146 minus 40, that's 6 over 3, which is 2. So Z equals 2. Okay, so question 12 involved plugging values in and using order of operations. So for question 13, we're going to solve for something. So what X value corresponds to a Z-score of -2 using mu equals 140 and sigma equals 3. So they plugged it in for us. They gave us what it looks like when they plug in the mu, the sigma, and Z in this case, because they're trying to figure out what X needs to be. So first thing they say to do is multiply by 3 on both sides to undo the fact that the left side is divided by 3. So if I multiply by 3 on the left side, what happens is these 3's cancel. But on the right side, -2 times 3, well, that's -6. So on the left side, I'm just left with X minus 140, which is what they are asking what the next version is. So there it is. There's the next version. Then it says we need to add 140 to both sides to undo the -140. So in order to get X by itself, I need to get rid of this -140. And the way I can do that is +140. So that cancels. It goes away on the left. And on the right, negative 6 plus 140, well, that comes out to 134. So there's X. For a different group of people, mu is 110, sigma is 2. Find, if X equals 100, find the Z-score. So still using the Z-score formula here. I'm just going to rewrite it. Z equals X. Actually, I think they write it backwards, don't they? Yes, they do. Sorry. X minus mu over sigma equals Z. Okay, so finding the Z-score, I'm going to plug in 100 for X. Oops, didn't switch to red yet. 110 for mu all over 2. Okay, so 100 minus 110, well, that's actually going to come out to a negative number. So that's going to come out to negative 10 over 2, which is 5. So here, negative 5, sorry, negative 5 equals Z. What X corresponds to a Z-score of 3? Okay, so this is like the one we did above. So they're going to have us solve for X using the same mu, which is 110, and sigma of 2, and they want Z to be 3. So to solve this, I need to get rid of the divided by 2. So to get rid of this divided by 2, I multiply both sides by 2. That literally, boop, cancels those out. So I'm left with X minus 110 on the left side, and on the right side, 3 times 2, well, that's 6. Okay, so now I need to get rid of this minus 110. So I'm going to get rid of that by adding 110 to both sides. And that gives me X equals 116. And there you go. There's some solving equations that you might see.